So I just spent the last minute or two searching for my camera to find that it was just in the kitchen, which only makes sense because that's where I film most of the time. All right, so I'm in the kitchen here today. I'm Jennifer, this is A Country Life, and we're gonna cook what just feels like the same old food all the time. I've mentioned this to you guys before, that I feel like my family likes the same food all the time. I'm one that wants to try new recipes all the time, and every time I say, oh, this is a new recipe, or this is a good one. So Sam's gonna have a friend over, and he's like, what are we having for supper tonight? Is it gonna be a new recipe? Because he knows I'm always trying something new. All right, but today it is not. I have done this many, many times before. This is the barbecue recipe or Sloppy Joe recipe that I use. It is in this Pioneer Woman cookbook. I know so many of you have her cookbooks, so you can just find that on page 58. I do make it pretty much the way she does. I do use a little bit less brown sugar. I don't like mine quite as sweet. So let's see, she says 2 tablespoons for 2.5 pounds of ground beef. I probably go 1, maybe just a smidge over 1 tablespoon. And then over here, I also do not use all of the red pepper flakes. I go a little easy on that, and I also do not use the Tabasco sauce. But other than that, oh, and I don't normally toast up the buns either. But other than that, I do it just like that. So what I'm gonna do here today, I have 3 packages of ground venison here, and let's see, these are, I think 2, and 2. Hey, Sparky.
Hi.
2 and 2.25 pounds ground venison. It says beef, but it is not. It's ground venison. And I've said this 100 times. These bags were just cheaper than the ones that said wild game, so that's why I bought these. I'm going to do all of this meat at once, and then I'm going to use double the recipe for the Sloppy Joes, and then I'm going to make a single recipe of chili. Yep, chili again. So I do have the meat going here. Emily showed up and she's asking me all kinds of really hard questions. Like, Mom, do you have this recipe? Mom, do you have that recipe? I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know where those recipes are. So anyway, we are on a search because I really want to make today that, like, it's graham crackers and brown sugar and pudding, chocolate pudding, peanut butter, and Cool Whip, and then you layer it all in a glass bowl. I've made it at least 3 times. But I can't find the recipe. So we are on a little search trying to find that recipe. I know. Trying to see if I actually typed it up in a video or if I can find it somewhere else. So that's what we're going to be working on here. And when we find it, we're going to print it this time. The meat is completely cooked through here. There really isn't any grease or anything. I mean, it's venison. There's a little moisture down there, but none of it is grease. I did get everything ready for the chili over here. All I have to do is transfer over a bunch of meat. And then I'm just going to make up 1 cup of elbow macaroni to add to the chili. Emily's here. I figured I would put her to work. Yep. She asked about this dessert and it was actually on my plan to make, so I figured I'll just put her to work making this up, and I don't know, you can either eat some before you go or take some with.
I don't know, we'll have to see. This looks delicious.
Okay, so this is it for the barbecue. Now I'm just gonna let this simmer away, and we're gonna have this for supper tonight, and then whatever we don't eat, I'm actually gonna freeze for later this week because I wanna have this Thursday night for supper. We're gonna be having some guests, and this would just make a great quick supper to have that night. Also, here is the chili, and then I'm gonna put a whole lot of noodles in there, and that will be the chili. So far, everything has just been the same old recipes, but I did want to try these here. Glazed cinnamon bars. This is a whole packet of recipes that I was sent. Margaret sent these to me, and I've just been having a great time going through so many of them, but I haven't made this one yet. Glazed cinnamon bars. Just looked interesting. It looked like something that probably my kids will eat, so let's give this a try. Butter, sugar, egg yolk, and salt. I'm going to beat that all till creamy. Okay, so much for my egg yolk that I was just going to separate. Whoops. Try again.
What are we making?
Right now, I'm making something new called glazed cinnamon bars. Okay, here we go. A whole tablespoon of cinnamon.
Hot supper, so everybody gets one bite.
One bite. Awesome. Okay, the recipe does say that the batter is really thick, and it is. It's actually very dry and crumbly. But I'm just going to pat it in nice and tight, and I'll show you what comes next. Emily put this together. We need to give it like a real name. I do want to just say the very first place I ever saw something like this was from Lynette Yoder on her channel, and I feel like she had it written out somewhere, but I haven't ever been able to find it since. So we just wrote something out quick, and I will put that in the description box below. Did you use 1 or 2 Cool Whips?
I used like 1.5.
Okay, 1.5 small things of Cool Whip. And there she did all the cute little layers, and it looks so cute. And now she's gonna take some home. That's gonna be supper.
No, because I'm gonna scoop it and then you can
So
lick it.
she's just gonna use this Cool Whip container, put some in there, and that's gonna be supper
It's so
for them.
pretty. I
Thank
don't
you.
wanna, like,
I know it is pretty, isn't it?
ruin the-
And it's so yummy.
There, that'll be
so,
my
so
helping,
yummy.
and then I'll scoop a scoop for you.
And that you might eat
one.
his helping too, right?
Yep,
I know, because I might
eat
eat this on the way home. There we go. That's good. That's plenty
All right,
for us.
perfect.
There, you can have the spoon.
I'm bringing the chili up to a simmer so I can get those onions to cook down. And I do have my noodles over here. They are, I think, done. And then over here, I have the barbecue, which is simmering away nicely. This is the cinnamon bars. I pressed it in. It took a little bit because it's pretty dry. And now what I have to do is whisk together. Let me read it. It says I have to whisk up my egg white until foamy and then stir in a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. And then once we have that, we're just going to pour that over the top and then sprinkle it with nuts. All right, well, this is kind of hard to spread. I thought this would spread easier. I'm excited for these bars. I set the timer for 30 minutes, even though it said 30 to 35 for the bars here. And I took them out at actually 23 minutes. I think they're very done already. I was really starting to smell them, and I thought, I think they're done. Yeah, the edges got really dark. It's going to be interesting to see how these bars are. It does say to cut the bars while they're still hot. So I'm going to cut these and let them cool, and we'll have these for dessert with supper tonight. All right, I'm back in the house. Warren and Marie and I went out on the UTV, and it's cold. I was not dressed as warm as Warren, and I said he was dressed so warm. I'm like, no wonder we went for such a long ride. Yes, honey.
So, this is Colt's, but he didn't even eat it because he didn't want
do you want it?
Yeah, can I
Okay,
eat it?
yes, you can. All right, so I just put the noodles into the chili here. Yeah, I did double the noodles this time. Warren said you can never have too many noodles in there. Are you guys on team noodle for the chili, you know? Do you put elbow macaroni in your chili or no macaroni? I'm gonna actually put this aside for tomorrow because chili always tastes better if you make it ahead of time. I actually think barbecue does too, but we're gonna have the barbecue for supper tonight. It's Sunday now, and I want to give you guys a peek at the bars. These were the glazed cinnamon bars. I did only bake these for 23 minutes. Like, they got very, very crunchy. So I'm very happy that I didn't cook them any longer than this. They're quite crunchy. Let me break this for you guys. See how they kind of break like that? They're kind of crunchy. I like them because I love butter and brown sugar and nuts. And as you can see, some of them are definitely getting eaten. It's not like a favorite. I'm trying to decide if I want to make them again sometime and cook them for even less time. Maybe even put them into a 9x13 pan. I'm kind of thinking that, so they'd be a little thicker, so maybe they would stay more of a soft kind of a bar. But Warren says that they taste like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And I said, you know, I could just see breaking these into small pieces in a bowl with milk. I feel like that would be absolutely delicious. So anyway, I did put a few of them in a little container. Maria and I are going to go see my mom today, so we're going to take her some bars and see what she thinks of them. But right now what I want to do is make some bread. So I'm going to use a recipe that is out of an old quick cooking magazine from 2003. Here's the recipe, crusty mini loaves. I'm going to put all of the ingredients up to the yeast into my bread machine, and then I'm going to just, you know, let it run its dough cycle. When it comes out, I'll catch back up with you guys and show you what happens. 1 cup plus a tablespoon of warm water, 3 teaspoons of sugar. I never understand when recipes will call for things like that, 3 teaspoons. Why don't they just say a tablespoon? But there we go. There's a tablespoon of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. When you use bread flour, you really want to make sure that you fluff it really well. I use it right out of my bag here.
I don't know.
And then a 1/2 cup of 7-grain cereal, or like in my case, I'm just using all bran. And then 1.5 teaspoons of yeast. I just set my bread machine to the dough cycle, and then I will come back in 5 minutes or so and check to see if it needs like a teaspoon of water added or a teaspoon of flour. Now this is another new recipe to me that I really wanted to try. I had a chuck roast in our freezer, so I just put this into a little container. I'm going to throw this in the fridge, let it thaw overnight. But I did want to get things ready to go today so that it would just be, you know, so much easier in the morning to get this started. So I did cut up 2 onions. Her recipe calls for white onions. I had yellow onions, so that's what I used. Put those in a Ziploc bag, and I'm just going to stick those in the fridge till tomorrow. And then in my mason jar, I'm putting 1 cup of water with a tablespoon of beef soup base, another tablespoon of minced garlic, a 1/2 teaspoon, I actually did a 1/4 teaspoon because I had ground thyme, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, and then it also needs an 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. I don't have that, and I kind of thought about just substituting in a can of tomato soup, but I thought, you know, I am going to be going through town today, and I thought I'll just stop and pick up a can of tomato sauce. That's no big deal. To go along with that roast, I really have been having a taste for twice baked potatoes. So I just scrub these potatoes up, and normally, at least for like the last, I don't know, year, I have really been enjoying making baked potato in the Instant Pot. However, for twice baked potatoes, that's not going to work so well. Lots of kids playing in the background. Peter has a friend over. They're making a lot of noise. Oh, wait. And so, but what happens in the Instant Pot is that the skins, you know, you're kind of like steaming them. And so they get really, hi, Joe. I like your new haircut. Yesterday it was time for a haircut, and so I had a different plan in mind. I thought we would leave it just a little bit longer here so he could kind of swoop it over, but he was not having the haircut, so we just decided to kind of grizz it off, right?
Oh yeah, I feel bad style.
You like it? Is that a good hairstyle? Yep, I see the sides. Very nice, yes. Okay, so as I was saying, in the Instant Pot, the skins of the potatoes, you know, you're steaming them so they get soft. They stay soft and they don't kind of get firm enough. So if you try to cut it in half and then scoop it out, it just doesn't work so well. So I'm gonna make my baked potato in the oven, you know, the old-fashioned way. So I'm gonna set my oven to 400 degrees and then I'll probably have them, there we go, probably put them in for about an hour. I just want them to get nice and tender, and then I can give them plenty of time for cooling. I have done twice baked potatoes where I do it all in one day, and it's just a little bit tedious to try to make it all happen in one day. So anyway, this is gonna work out great. So I put the noodles in yesterday. I like the chili to set in the fridge overnight, even two nights, and then I put the noodles in, and the noodles don't get quite so swollen. Warren really prefers it like this, so where you put the noodles in and let it sit in the fridge like that, so it gets really thick and the noodles get all swollen up and everything. Anyway, so that's what the chili looks like. I just tasted it, and I added just a few dashes more of Worcestershire sauce because it just seemed like it needed that, and it is so delicious. Yeah, this is just our favorite chili recipe. Warren and I were talking just yesterday because I had brought out some banana bread that I had made, and I made a great big batch. They're around Easter sometime. I put a whole lot of it in the freezer. I brought some out, and he was just like, oh man, that is such good banana bread. And I said, you know, but it's one of those recipes where I run across other banana bread recipes and I just never say, oh, I think I should try that one, because this one is just so good. Chili is one of those too, where it's just like I see other chili recipes, and although I did try that Texas chili, which Amber really liked. Remember that video? Boy, that was like last fall. Rarely would I see another chili recipe and say, I'm gonna try that, because we just love this one so much that we just don't want to be disappointed when we bite into chili. So, all right, I double checked my bread. Honestly, I kind of forgot about it, and but it looks good. It just dawned on me that the recipe does not call for any oil or butter, anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this one, how this bread turns out. I'm gonna get some bacon and bring in some cheese because I need to get some bacon fried up, and get the cheese shredded. And what else do I need to do? Oh, and I just need to get a little bit, no, I think I'll use red onions, for which I already have frozen and like chopped and frozen in the freezer for the twice baked potato. And then I think that's gonna be it for today as far as like what I'm kind of, you know, making. I do have to wait for this to be all done so I can get that all going. Okay, I decided to just do the bacon on the cookie sheet like I do. I didn't twist it this time. I kind of want it to get pretty crispy. So I'm just going to pop it in along with the potatoes, but I'll have to watch it carefully because it's not going to have to go a whole hour. So I'm going to store everything separate here overnight, and I will assemble all of the ingredients tomorrow. After I'm done with this, I'm just going to put in a blob of butter so that the butter can melt. And then tomorrow I'll just use my hand mixer to mix this all up. A bit of milk tomorrow as well. It just kind of depends on how soft the potato seems to be. Then at the, once I have the potato mixture all the way I want it, salt and peppered and everything with the butter and the milk and all mixed, I will add in the shredded cheese, and I will add in the bacon, and I'll add in a little bit of red onion, and then I will stuff it back into these shells. So these are all of my shells here. I'm just going to put those in the fridge with the lid overnight, and then tomorrow I will put those into the oven on like a cookie sheet at 350 degrees until they're hot. So maybe 25 minutes. It might take longer, maybe 30 minutes, just until everything's nice and hot and the cheese looks melty. All right, the bread is out. This one I was having a hard time shaping. It just kept wanting to unfold. I guess I could have used a little water to sort of attach the dough, but I didn't. So anyway, here are the crusty loaves. That's what I think they call this recipe, crusty mini loaves. I'm gonna let these cool, and we will actually be eating these with our supper tonight, which is going to be chili again, and I think that's probably gonna just about do it for the chili. So I will check in when everyone is done with all their Sunday afternoon activities. We are all back home together and ready to eat supper, and we'll let you know how those crusty mini loaves are. Well, I am home. It's actually 8:45. I've been home for a while now, and you probably might hear American Idol on the TV because Maria and I are just finishing up with that. But anyway, I wanted to show you the bread. So Maria and I ended up eating popcorn with my mom and stuff, and so we just weren't even hungry for supper. I did try a slice of this. This is so good. The guys, they ate 2 loaves at supper. It is really, really good. I am so keeping this recipe. This one is going to get copied into my book because I really love it. I love how the inside is soft and the crust is like really chewy. It is so good. I just cannot say that enough. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will pop a couple more Sunday prep style videos up. If you just need a little inspiration, you're just like, man, I need to feed these people this week, and what can I do to make it a little bit easier? That's really what my Sunday prep videos are all about. A lot of times I don't get everything completed all the way, but what I do is just get little bits and pieces started so that it just makes the week go that much easier. Oh, and I did get my tomato sauce at the grocery store, so now tomorrow I'll be all set for putting that roast in. All right, you guys have a fabulous night, and we'll catch you in the next video.